Hey, welcome! Today we're diving into something really cool, this kind of invisible map that pretty much guides all of our lives. We're going to see how understanding it can help us connect across generations and, maybe even understand ourselves a little bit better along the way.
You know that feeling, right? You're trying to explain what's going on in your world, and they're trying to explain theirs, but it just feels like you're on totally different planets. It's so frustrating. But what if I told you that this isn't some flaw in our relationships, but actually a fundamental feature of being human?
Yeah, it turns out these huge communication gaps aren't really about who's right or who's wrong. It's all about where we are on this shared journey. Each generation is simply trying to solve a different puzzle, facing a different core challenge that's really important to them at that moment. So, here's what we've got on tap. First, we're going to pinpoint exactly why we misunderstand each other. Then, we'll pull out this amazing map for the human lifespan and walk through the 8 great challenges we all face. And finally, we'll see how this whole map helps us connect all the generations into one big, unbroken circle.
So the key to all of this, the secret to understanding each other, comes from this powerful idea from a psychologist named Erikson. He didn't see our lives as just some straight line, but as a series of stages that we all navigate, kind of like a universal map for human growth.
Now, the official name for this is psychosocial development. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but it's really a simple, profound idea. Who we become is this mix of our inner psychological world and our outer social world. Our growth is just fundamentally tied to our relationships with other people.
And right here, this is the crucial point. According to Erikson, our entire life, from the day we're born to our final years, is structured around 8 key stages. And in each stage, we face this central conflict, this major question we have to answer. How we deal with it shapes our personality and gets us ready for the next step of the journey.
Okay, so what are these challenges? Let's do it. Let's walk through the 8 great stages of life that every single one of us in every generation goes through.
All right, here's the whole map in one shot. The journey kicks off with the challenge of trust as a baby, and it goes all the way to finding integrity in our later years. What's cool is that each stage builds on the last one. As we go through these, try to spot where you are, or maybe where your parents or your kids are on this timeline.
Everything starts right here, in that very first year of life. A baby's completely dependent, right? If their needs for food and comfort and safety are met consistently, they learn to trust the world. This builds this deep, lasting sense of hope that literally becomes the foundation for everything else.
And the impact of this stage, it goes incredibly deep. Erikson actually suggested that this earliest experience of trust is the very seed of what later becomes faith. And he wasn't just talking about religious faith, but a much broader faith in other people, in our communities, and just in life itself.
And then we hit the toddler years. You know this one. It's the classic me-do-it stage. The main challenge here is developing a sense of independence or autonomy. So when a little kid is encouraged to explore and do things for themselves, they develop willpower. But if they're constantly criticized or over-controlled, they end up with shame and doubt.
Over the next few years, from about age 3 to 11, the challenges keep evolving. First, kids learn to take initiative, to make up little games and plans, and that develops a sense of purpose. Then, when they hit school, the focus shifts to industry. That feeling of pride you get from building things, creating, and getting stuff done, that gives them a real feeling of competence.
And then we hit the teenage years. Oh man, this is such a pivotal, massive stage that we're going to spend a little extra time right here. The great challenge is forging a stable sense of who you are out of what can honestly feel like total chaos and role confusion.
This is the question that just echoes through those teenage years. And to figure it out, teens try on different personalities, they explore new ideas, and they form these super intense friendships. The goal isn't really to have all the answers, but to come out the other side with a clearer sense of self and what Erikson called fidelity, which is just a real, true commitment to your own values.
And this highlights a really key part of that search. Whether it's through actual religion or philosophy or just a personal code of ethics, developing some kind of belief system, a sense of what truly matters, is a critical piece of building an identity that's going to last a lifetime.
So once you have a decent sense of who you are, the next great challenge is to share that self with someone else. In young adulthood, the focus shifts to forming intimate, loving relationships. And if you succeed here, it leads to really fulfilling partnerships. But if you don't, it can lead to loneliness and isolation.
In middle adulthood, our whole perspective widens. The question becomes about our legacy.
This is the stage of generativity, raising families, mentoring younger people, creating things that are going to benefit future generations. The successful outcome isn't just about being productive, it's the virtue of care. The alternative is stagnation, just feeling kind of stuck and disconnected.
And finally, in our later years, we enter this period of reflection. The main task is to look back on our life and see a story that makes sense, a story that feels meaningful. If we can do that, we achieve a sense of integrity and what's called the virtue of wisdom. But if we only see a series of regrets and missed chances, well, that's when we can fall into despair.
So, okay, now we have the map. We can see that a teenager who's wrestling with their identity and, say, a 45-year-old focused on their legacy are really just playing different levels of the exact same game. So the real question becomes, how does knowing this actually help us connect?
This is where it all comes together so beautifully. The map shows us that these stages are completely interdependent. Every single generation has something the others need. Little kids need adults to build that foundational trust. Teens need mentors to help them find their identity. And get this, adults need to guide the young to feel generative and purposeful. And elders need to share their wisdom to find their own sense of integrity. It's this perfect, symbiotic cycle.
And that brings us to our final and I think most powerful idea. This isn't just a straight line of stages, it's a circle where the end connects right back to the very beginning.
I mean, just think about that connection for a second. When an older person achieves that sense of integrity and they can face the end of their life with peace and acceptance, they give off this incredible sense of wisdom. And that wisdom actually reassures the youngest generation, reinforcing their fundamental trust in the world. The elder's peace helps the child's hope to bloom. It's just amazing.
So as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with this question. Look at your own spot on this map. Think about the challenge you're facing right now. And based on this journey that we all share, ask yourself, who in my life do I need to learn from? And maybe more importantly, who needs what I have to give?